These garments save lives, not only for the firefighters who wear them, but more importantly for those they rescue. This is what Globe Manufacturing does, but what does their brand stand for? We're here in Pittsfield, New Hampshire, talking with Rob Fries, who's a fourth-generation owner, and Don Fibbick of Kemp Goldberg Partners. Rob, tell us about what makes your company special.
It's a really special place because of our dedication to our customer. They really drive our business, and all of our employees really understand it. We're able to execute on those custom products that our customers depend on literally to bring them home at the end of the day and save lives.
Is all of your manufacturing done domestically?
All of our manufacturing is domestic. We're a fourth-generation family-owned business. We manufacture in 3 different states in the U.S., having about 425 employees in total, and about a little over 300 of those are right here in Pittsfield at the headquarters.
Are you one of Pittsfield's largest employers then?
We are. We employ about 10% of the overall population of the community, and we draw from the bedroom communities around Pittsfield, and we're kind of stacked here in the foothills of New Hampshire. A little known secret, I think, in American enterprise.
What do you want your employees to feel about your company?
I think they all get it. They all really understand who we are and what we're about. They're part of our culture, and that's part of our brand. The folks here understand that what they do matters. Every single person out here is a great salesman for our organization. They talk to our customers, and when they do, over 90% of the customers that come here to visit us in the factory buy our product because they understand what's behind that brand.
So what does that brand promise to your customers then?
The brand promise itself is really one of quality, performance, technology, and high levels of customization, and the people that stand behind it to deliver that.
Don, as a former firefighter yourself, what is one of the first things that went through your mind when you found out you were taking on the Globe account?
Well, it actually started before we found out we were going to have an opportunity to help to shape the brand. It's personal for me. I come from a family of firefighters. I was a firefighter, and coincidentally, we all wore Globe gear. The Globe name is it's absolutely an iconic name, certainly in the fire service, and to have the chance to work for a brand that's so iconic, that's so well known, and is doing such a good job and has done such a great job for so many years. You don't get those opportunities very often either. So,
not being part of the family, how do you add value in the brand management category?
Well, the perspective helps. Distance is not a bad thing. When we set out to shape brands, there's sort of a standard set of processes that we follow, and then it sort of goes out from there. First and foremost, we're curious about who we're talking to. We want to intimately understand our audience. In this case, we were talking to firefighters and the influencers of those departments, the guys that are on the gear committees that are making the decisions about what people are actually going to be wearing in those departments. We wanted to understand them intimately, but this is also, it's a product, so there's a sales force connected to this. We wanted to talk to them. We wanted to understand, what their needs were, how we could best help them, and I guess the end game of all this is that once we understand who we're talking to, then we know how to reach out to them. Then we know what the important messages are, what the important needs are, and what the right channels are to use to communicate to them. Ultimately, we talk about brands. You can make a promise about your brand, and your product will ultimately undermine it if it doesn't live up to that promise. So in this case, happily, the product is amazing, and we have all of the framework we need to build a brand expression around it that is unique and different and lives up to the icon that it's become.
You've been at this for 127 years, you're fourth generation. How has the brand evolved over time?
Huge evolution. Remember, we go back to 1887, we invented the category of firefighters gear. My great-grandfather was one of the first to sort of sell clothing to New England firefighters that were going to go out into the cold at night, hence the term turnout gear. And it was really about keeping firefighters warm and dry. And then in the 1960s, the evolution of self-contained breathing apparatus caused fire department tactics to change dramatically. Now they're going into structures and actually getting to the seat of the fire and working those hazardous conditions.
Rob, what led to the relaunch and the new tagline in 2012?
Athletic gear for firefighters really is synonymous with how firefighters think of themselves. Our brand equity begins at the customer level. It really is about the voice of the customer approach that we go out and interview at all levels of the fire service. I've been a firefighter personally for 31 years. That's the authenticity that comes from the ownership and our perspective and our brand that ultimately is the face of the company to the industry. The work that they do is rigorous. It's much more akin to what an athlete endures as they go into it doesn't matter if it's a football game or a basketball game. They start out at ground zero. Some of them sometimes are waking up in the middle of the night. They get an adrenaline rush. They're on the fire truck. They're getting dressed. They're putting on their gear. And they're thinking about what they're going to grab for tools when they get to the scene and charge into a building. So when we call it athletic gear for firefighters, it's that movement. It's what the body endures. That's why firefighters work out so much and train so hard, because they really are athletes. So the tagline, athletic gear for firefighters, really is synonymous with the job that they're doing.
Don, what's in store for the next 100 years for your clients?
We love the position that we've created, and we think that there's a lot of longevity to it. One of the great things about this particular brand is it's very forward-thinking. There's a lot of stuff on the horizon, next generation gear equipment to further, aid the cause when it comes to firefighters, and so we'll continue to manage and evolve the brand as those new opportunities appear. But we love the position and we love the opportunity that it affords us in terms of continuing to evolve.
Rob Fries, Don Fibick of Kemp Goldberg Partners, thank you very much for hosting us here in Pittsfield, New Hampshire. On our next episode, we'll continue to look at logos and marketing, going into the field and talking with entrepreneurs about the hows, whens, and whys of brand development.